good morning once again.
Good morning.
I draw a lot of energy from you people when you say that loud and clear. I'm so happy to be here. It's my first time at Talkmasters, and I'm really glad that there's a platform like this for people to come and engage. I'm a part of Toastmasters, and I've been a part of Toastmasters for the last 3 years. And I've been growing along in my journey, but my growth started much before that in terms of my life. I think you should be glad to meet Sniff or Scurry. That's me. In the sense, I have always curried. And what was my cheese? What was my cheese was always happiness, contentment. There was a quote long back when I was in college that I heard, which actually defined the way that I would live the rest of my life. And that was, find a job that you would love to do, and you would not have to work one day in your life. And I kept chasing that, and I kept chasing and looking, what was that one thing? And every time I found it, I did it. And every time it stopped giving me happiness, I stopped doing it. I've taken 8 different career paths and traveled the world and been doing different things, and I've never been scared to change. So today is about love failures. How many of you have had love failure? Raise your hand. Or don't raise your hand if you have had love failure. So that means all of you have had love failures. Because people are very reluctant to raise your hand, so you just put the opposite question, and then what happens is, you force yourself, and that's what is required. You need to push yourself. You need to push yourself to get to the places that you want to be. The speakers today, who Mr. Nishad and Mr. Mithun, they created the prelude or the platform for me to come and address, because everything that they spoke about is what I want to address, but in my own way. How many of you love failures more than you love success? Raise your hands. So the rest of you don't love it, or you're deeply passionate about it, you just hate it. So how many of you hate failures? All right. I think when you start loving failures, when you start loving, I don't mean you have to fail. I'm not telling you to fail. I'm telling you to love failure, because when you start loving failure, you're not afraid to fail. And when you're not afraid to fail, you start moving, you start doing the things. You start taking that first bold step towards whatever you want to do. If you look at history, there are so many famous people. Look at Oprah Winfrey. She was rejected initially when she wanted to do a show. Today she's become one of the biggest icons. When I was approached this week by Mr. Faisal and asked to give a talk, and I was like, I'll speak about failures. And then he asked what would be the title, and then I gave him the title. And I decided I would make a presentation about the love failures, or how people approach failures all their life and how they came out of it. But then that's all on YouTube, or it's all available online. Why would you want me to come and say? So I was racking my brains, and last night I was with a friend of mine, and we just finished a session, and we were having dinner together at PF Shanks in the Dubai Mall. And as we sat over there with a group of us, he engaged and he was asking us, so what was it that was your happiest moment, or what was the low point of your life? And before I move on, I want to put something else in perspective over here. It is something what Mithun was also saying over here. He was saying when he was talking about the presentation, it's not about what I am saying or what the presentation is, what you're going to take away from this, right? So I want you to think and apply what I'm going to say right now for all your life, every time you listen to a speech. It's called ACT, A-C-T. A stands for apply. What are you going to take from what I speak, or what Mithun spoke, or what Nishad spoke into your lives? What are you going to apply? C is change. What is it about your life that you will change by hearing what you heard? And T is teach. What will you teach somebody from the message that you got today? So what I'm going to speak as well, see what you can take away. What will be the 3 things? It can be all 3, or it can be one of the 3, or it can be 2 of them. It can be anything that you choose, it's yours. But make it something. Otherwise it's just noise. It just disappears. It's just a wasted time. Maybe at a subconscious level, you would take it. True. But when you start taking it consciously, you're able to improve yourself even much more further. So there are levels of where you can be doing unconscious competing yourself. There's levels of competency which is called unconscious competency and conscious competency. So when you can be consciously competent about how you're developing yourself, you will grow much more further. All right? So last night when I was talking to him and I was telling him that this is my journey and this is my low point, and again I'll come to something which is called the purpose, which is what we are all talking about here. We can describe that it is a very, very vast topic, but if I could sum it up in just a few words that you could take away, it would be purpose. If any one of you looking over here, it is not into the future that you have to look. It's the goals and the vision that you look for in the future. When you look for purpose, look at the back. Look at the back and create your lifeline. When you create your lifeline, what you do is you draw ups and down curves. In the up curves, and it could be starting at the age of 4 or 5 or whatever age that you find at the earliest in your life, it doesn't matter. At that age, what was the high point? What was the thing that you were happiest about? And what was the thing that you were saddest about? Keep drawing those and marking those on a piece of paper and seeing what were the things that kept you so happy in life. And then you look at all the things that kept you so sad, and what was it that was so depressing, or what was it? And then you will see in this low points, you might find your purpose. You might find a way where you can give back to the community. And in this, you will find the skills that you will have. You'll find the skills that you have to address this. And as you go along in life, you'll keep growing those things. Your purpose might keep changing because you will have new experiences in life. You'll have new opportunities to meet people. So what I say is, I is equal to B plus E plus P. Okay, I is every individual, B is all the books you have read, E is all the experiences you have had, and P is all the people you have met. And these things along your life will keep improving and increasing. So when you look at the books that you want to read, choose wisely. When you want to look at the experiences that you want to have, choose wisely. When you want to engage with people, choose wisely the people you engage with. And that will define the I, you, your individuality, and how you grow as a person. So yes, I was looking at my life when I was in China, and I'm going to touch upon one brief story. It's not brief, it was 8 years, yes. But how my journey went over there. I was like a scurry. I just dived in. I had no one, I knew no one over there. I had no clue what was going to happen, but I just loved the place. I had gone there on a trip for 2 weeks when I was working for a company in Qatar. I had just gone to attend an exhibition, and then I came back. So after 2 years, when I got an opportunity to again choose where I wanted to live my life, I said I would go to China. And people asked me, what will you do there? And I said, I'll go there and I'll figure it out. Doesn't matter. I just love the place. And my job, my previous owner, they asked me, we are expanding across India. We are expanding across the Middle East. You want any location, let us know. We will place you there. Where do you want to live? I said, are you opening in China? They said, not yet. I said, then I'm going there. So I moved in over there. After 1 year, business was not happening. And I started looking for a job. And then I met this one gentleman where I was ready to move out of China almost. I didn't want to move. My family said, Samir, come back. It was 2006, 2007. It was the boom time in Dubai. All of you would know that. At that point of time, as a civil engineer, opportunities were like booming. They would give you any salary so that you could take care of the construction that is happening over here. I said, I don't want to go back to the Middle East. I don't ever want to go back to the Middle East. I was born in Qatar. I don't want to live there anymore. I want to live in China. And then what happened was, my parents and my family and everyone said, please. And I said, give me 6 months time. And if nothing changes, I will do as you say. So in that 6 months, what happened was, I first met one gentleman, a Chinese guy, who said, and here you're going to connect the dots, you're going to see the pattern. He said, Samir, you're an amazing guy. You should not be looking for a job. Because I started looking for a job. I was an entrepreneur over there. I was helping companies do sourcing from China. So he said, you are operating out of your house now. Get out of the house. Set up a company, set up an office, go to some place every day in the morning, and then you will start your journey over there. So I said, okay, and that's it. And then I came back. Then I was back in Guangzhou, where I was living. This happened in a city close to Beijing. And there was a low point in my life where I had close to 100 dirhams, close to 100 dirhams to live that entire month. I had no money for food or anything extra. I mean, that's all I had. But I was so happy, I was so content, it didn't matter. And the kind of people that came into my life and connected and made sure that everything was taken care of was amazing. And during that period of time, I met a gentleman who was a Pakistani, and he became a very good friend of mine. And 2 months down the line, we decided we'll start a company of our own. So he had a company, he was going to close it down. And I said, I'm looking to stay here. So he said, okay, then why don't you join me? And I said, okay, let's do it. So he said, I'll put in all the money. I said, no, I want to put in as well. He said, you don't have the money, I know it. I said, I'll borrow it, doesn't matter. So I borrowed some money from a friend of mine, a good friend of mine in Doha, and that is the only time I borrowed some money. That was to invest into this company, which I returned later thereafter. And then we started this company, and then we started our journey together. He was not working in the company, he was working outside. And then what happened was, the years went by. And the business was doing okay sometimes not okay, but during the period of 6 years thereafter, what happened was, he kept pumping money into the business whenever it was required. But that was just for operational purposes. It was not into buying any products, because we always took money from the clients and we shipped the goods. So it was for salaries or rents or whatever expenses that it had. So it amounted to around 35,000 US dollars. Now after 6-7 years, he said, Samir, I think every business that I go into and I become a partner, I've noticed that it doesn't take off. So maybe I am the reason why this business is not taking off. So why don't you take the complete business and return my money to me? $35,000 I had to pay him. I said, the business is not doing well now. I don't have the money. The business does not have the money to give it to you. What will I do? Can you wait? He said, okay, I'll wait. And then I asked him, the company is in your name. You're a Hong Kong resident. The company is in your name and my visa is under this company. Can you maintain this company for some more time so that I can sort things out? He said, okay, I'm fine with that. So I had a client who sent money, and it was around 40,000 US dollars. The money goes into that account, and then he takes the money and brings it to China, and then I use it for the purchases and whatever. $40,000. I'm sitting in a friend's office. I was the president of the Indian Association in Guangzhou at that point of time, and I was sitting with the secretary of the Indian Association at that point of time. It was an association that was affiliated to the Indian consulate over there, and we were doing amazing work with the community. And I was sitting with this friend of mine, and we were sitting and having a chat about some activities that we were doing for building the community. And then I get this call. My friend, he calls from Hong Kong, and he says, Samir, the income tax department has taken $40,000. It's under scrutiny. I'm sorry. Now for a person who has no money, he has no money. Just imagine if you have no money right now, and then somebody takes away $40,000 away from you, the ground beneath your feet will just slip away, right? And I was in that moment. I was in that very moment. And blood rushed out of my face, and I guess it was rushing down below into the ground maybe. And then what happened was, this friend of mine sitting right in front of me, he said, Samir, what happened? And I said, nothing, it's okay, I'll manage. And he said, no, you have to tell me, I'm your friend. Tell me what it is. And I told him the story. And I told him this is what has happened and this is what has happened. And the next thing that he told me shifted my entire life. Shifted my entire life. And I'll tell you this after I tell you another story. It's about belief. This is the story that my partner told me about belief. Now there was this preacher who used to stand under a tree and preach to a lot of people who were shepherds. Alright? In a village, he used to stand and speak to a lot of shepherds. Now he used to tell, you have to be so passionate and truthful to your belief, and you have to believe with your heart 100%. There cannot be an iota of doubt in your belief. You have to believe completely, 100%. And when you start believing 100%, then what happens is anything is possible. Do you see that river over there? That river, you can walk on it if you put your faith in God 100%. The way he spoke was so powerful that there was a shepherd sitting down over there, and he said, "Oh my God, that's amazing. The grass is green on the other side. I'll go there tomorrow." The next day morning, he wakes up early, takes his sheep, and walks across the river. He walks across it, on top of it, puts his faith completely 100%. Then what happens when he's on his way back in the evening? The preacher sees him. The preacher is standing there. He's watching with his mouth open. And he's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And then when this man approached, he stopped him and asked, "Hello, how did you walk?" And this guy said, "What do you mean? Yesterday, you were the one who said, if we put our faith in God 100%, then we'll be able to walk, right?" He said, yes, I was just checking, if that is how you walked. Good show. You put your faith in God 100%, very good. And then, he let the man pass. And then this man thought to himself, if this man who is a shepherd, who is uneducated, who is not clever, who has not learned anything, just heard it from me yesterday and he could do it, then I can definitely do it. I've been talking about this for the last 10, 15 years, 20 years to people. So if this man can do it, why can't I? So he called the entire village the next day. And he said, "I'm going to show to you what I've been preaching for the last 15, 20 years. Come and watch." Everybody gathered. The time was up. It was time for him to step on the water. And when he was about to step on the water, he told somebody, "Can you please tie a rope on my hand? I don't know how to swim." And this is what happens to all of us. We look for crutches. We look for a lot of crutches when we are diving in. We're so afraid to fail. We're so afraid to fail that we do not take chances. So this man sitting at the table, my friend, when he asked me what it is, and when I told him, and he was a Sai Baba devotee and I was a Muslim, and his response touched me to my core, because this story which I heard about a couple of years back from my very friend who was a Pakistani, who was my partner, it put everything into perspective for me. I connected the dots. He asked me, "Samir, $40,000? What is it for your Allah?" It's nothing for Allah. You just have to ask. You ask and you will get it. And I left that room completely transformed. And then I left that room. I went back home. I prayed and said, "Oh God, I owe this man $35,000. Let him keep the 40. 5,000 extra for what he has done for me for all these years. I do not want it from him back. I want it from you. This client who has sent me the money, I do not want to fail him. Please make it happen for me. And I want to complete this entire thing before December. It's June now, but December, I want to take a vacation and go back and meet my parents." So I put a deadline for my request from God, and I asked. And I asked with all my heart. And then the things that happen after that is so magical, that there was this client who came in who placed an order for steel from Saudi Arabia. He came and he paid me the money. It was close to around 90,000 renminbi, which is around $15,000. He paid the money to me and he said, "Samir, make the deposit next week." I said, "All right." So he flew back to Saudi Arabia, and when I was about to make the payment, he said, "Samir, have you made the transfer yet?" I said, "No." He said, "Don't." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because the steel prices have dropped and the supplier is not ready to negotiate. So keep the money with you. I'll take it when I need it." So I had money to pay. So I kept doing this. And then a couple of months later, this man came back. 2 months later, he came back and he said, "Samir, I want my money back." I said, "Okay." He said, "I want it now." I said, "I don't have it now." He said, "I need it. I need to make the purchase." And then I sat and discussed with him, I talked to him, and then finally I told him, give me 3 days time. I'll give you your money. And in 3 days, if you are in China, if you are doing this business, you will know that it is so very difficult. Should I stop? I can.
No, just continue.
Yeah? Can I take another 5 minutes more?
Yes, please.
So, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Okay.
Is it okay? I'll just complete the story and I'll be done with it. So, he came to me and he said, I need the money. And I said, okay, give me 3 days and I'll give it to you. Now, if a client has to come and transfer the money to you, it will take at least 3-4 days only for the transaction from Dubai or any other part of the world to hit the banks once the transfer is made. And then after that, to take the money and then do it. I had no clients, no money, nothing coming in my way. I went back home that day and my wife asked me, how are you going to make the payment? I said, I don't know. God will find a way. And my belief was 100%, I'm telling you, my belief was 100%. I put all my faith in God and said, make this happen. You need a client before he can make a transfer. He needs to come and find the goods that he wants to buy. And then he has to confirm with the supplier. He has to negotiate with the supplier. And all these things, exercise has to finish before he will make the payment. So it's almost, one cycle is around 30 to 40 days. And I am saying, I am not going to ask anybody money. God, you give me. 2 days down the line, an old customer of mine calls me and says, Samir, we have negotiated with 100 suppliers. There are 100 shops from which you have to collect the goods, garments. The order is over $1 million renminbi, which is around 300-400 US dollars, 300-400,000 US dollars. And the money is already in China. Just give me a bank account, it will come to you in the next 1 hour. And you don't have to make the complete shipment right away. You just have to make part shipment, and the rest you will make it after 2-3 weeks. Can you imagine? That's the power of belief. If your belief is 100%, you don't doubt. You do not doubt for 1 second that it will not happen. What if you do not put it there? What if it doesn't happen? Is your crutch. So then after that, I got that sorted out. And then 2 months down the line, I got an order. Ironically, for the UAE National Day, they wanted the shawls. They wanted the shawls, and there was no supplier who could do it in 2 weeks. I found a supplier who could do it in 2 weeks. I quoted the price. They accepted the price. I put a reasonable margin. Right? December is closing, remember? And then what happens after the order is confirmed, after the customer is almost, he sent the money to my account, my staff negotiates with the supplier and gets a further discount. And that order cleared everything for me. And it happened before December. And those claps are not for me. Those is for belief. It's for the belief that you have to have. And then I had this conversation with my partner. Every month I used to ask him, what happened? Did the income tax people give you the money back? Did they give it to you back? He would keep saying no. So I finished this order, and just then I met him. I got all this money which God sent to me my way. And I asked him, you still haven't got the money back? And he said, हाँ वो मिल गया और खा भी लिया. You know? And my response, if for those of you who don't understand, he said, yes, I received it and I have finished eating it as well. And I replied to him, तो क्या हुआ? आप ही का तो पैसा था. That was meant for you. And it shifted him, and he was like, Samir, I need to talk to you. So we went back. We went to a coffee shop and we sat, and he said, Samir, do you think you're doing me a favor by giving me this money? I said, no, I owe you this money. Why are you giving me this 5,000? I said, as a sign of gratitude. You think it will cover for all the years that I spent with you where I didn't take a penny from you? I said, brother, I know it won't, but if you need more, please ask. I don't have it now, but I'll give it to you. So what is important is when you have your orientation right, when you are looking not for money, but when you are working and doing things to fulfill your purpose and to find out what it is that you can give to the communities, money will follow. Money is a side effect of doing things right. If the money is not coming, all you have to realize is there's something in your process that you need to correct. There's something that you have to revisit and then go back to doing what you want to do. Do what brings you the greatest happiness, because when you start working passionately, with deep passion, amazing things happen. And all you have to do is focus on what it is that brings you the greatest joy. Then what happens is you look forward to the weekdays as much as your weekends, and you start living a life. Imagine 70% of your waking hours you spend at work, and if you're doing work that does not inspire you, what are you doing? And nobody's stopping you except yourself. No one. So make that shift. Love failures. Because failures is what will help you stand up, look back, see what are the corrections that you need to do, and you keep moving forward. With failures, you find humility. You become humble. You become a ground-to-earth person. You become an amazing human. With success, you become right opposite. So love failures. Thank you.